of the Zoning Hearing Board for Radnor Township. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda for this evening is a hearing that was continued from October 16, 2025. It is Appeal 3243. The applicant, 165 Radnor Hotel TRS LLC, property located at 165 King of Prussia Road, is a zone PLO. The applicant requests variances from section 280-123.b of the code to install a wall sign in the west elevation that exceeds 60 square feet in size and height exceeds 15 feet from grade, and a wall sign east elevation that will exceed the size and height above grade, the same size and height above grade, and not allowed because elevation is not facing street frontage, and to add a third wall sign, a nameplate wall sign at the entrance to the hotel. Variance from section 280-122C3, requesting an awning that exceeds the allowable size. A variance from 280-123D to add a freestanding sign closer than 200 feet to the existing Penn Medicine sign on the same street frontage. To add a second freestanding sign on Scepter Road, and for all freestanding signs to be in excess of the allowable 75 square foot limit, and a variance from section 280-123A regarding total allowable sign area. As I said, this was continued from the 16th. So, George, I understand that you're here tonight for this applicant?
Yes. Good evening. I'm George Brosman. I'm representing the applicant. I was not here last time, but they asked me to help them out with this. At the last hearing, Will Golden, who's here, asked for a continuance, and the board granted that, and they wanted to take the board's concerns into account with some of the signs. There were some comments and concerns about the size of some of the signs and the height, I think, of one of the signs. The signs, I'd like to recall Will and also recall Phil Dubroff from the sign company. The signs have been reduced, some of them quite substantially in size, and the heights have been reduced on some of the signs. Will tell you that after the plans were resubmitted with those reductions, we have a further refinement to present to you this evening. The logo for the hotel has been in the process of ongoing refinement, so we wanted to present to the zoning board the most up-to-date name and logo for the hotel. So I'll be handing you out an exhibit package with that. That had the effect of actually reducing the signage, some of the size of some of the signs, a little more modest reduction. Phil will go over all the details, but I wanted to note that I believe I have this right. Of all the signs that are proposed, only one of them is larger than the code requires, I believe. I know the awning sign was mentioned as being too large, but I think that now complies. So the only sign that's actually we're seeking a variance for the individual size is the sign on the side of the building facing King of Prussia Road, but you'll hear testimony that that sign has been substantially reduced in size, and it's been lowered in height to some degree. Most of the relief relates to the fact that there's a formula that the ordinance uses for signs in the PLO district. You're allowed to have 1.5 square feet of signage for every linear foot of a building that faces a street. You'll hear testimony from Will. One of the unique conditions about this development tract was it was a unified development, and the hotel building faces internally, and it's the side of the building that is along King of Prussia Road. The measurement is done on that, but if you were to measure the long side of the building where the main entrance is, that also backs up the Scepter Drive, that's 270 feet long, which would support over 400 square feet of signage just as a practical matter. Now, that's not the way it's done under the code, so we can't claim the right to that, but I thought I'd bring that out as a practical point. The other point I wanted to make is the Arkema building is a very long building. It's about 313 feet in length along King of Prussia Road. It has almost no signage at all. They're very understated, apparently, and applying the formula to that, 1.5 square feet, that would yield almost 470 square feet of signage. Again, that's not a thing that we are entitled to, but I think it's a practical consideration. We think it shows that the signage as now proposed is pretty modest for the overall site. And I don't think it was highlighted at the last hearing, but the monument signs that are proposed for the hotel do have signage for Arkema on them. So those signs are not just for the hotel. So, I think that could be taken into account. But with that introduction, I'd like to hand out our exhibit package and recall Will Golden.
George, I think it might be helpful for you to also briefly highlight the changes between what we had before and what you're relying upon at tonight's hearing. We need an extra one here.
Mr. Lord, before I went into the testimony with Will, do you want me to try to make that summary?
Yes, please.
I think the best place to look is, and Phil from the sign company will go over this in detail, but if you turn to A35, this is a chart that the sign company has prepared, and it's got several columns. On the left column, can I borrow your big one? On the left column, there's the proposed signage with the names of them. And then the next column to the right is what was previously submitted at the October 18th hearing. And then in the third column, which has the green heading, newly proposed, you can see the difference in the sizes between the signs. So with Monument Sign A, which is the proposed sign for the hotel in Arkema at the main entrance, that went from 55 feet down to 44.3. I believe the height was reduced slightly to make it exactly the same height at 9.8 feet as the Penn sign, and 10 feet is allowed, I believe. And a freestanding sign can be 75 square feet. So this sign on an individual basis is below the size allowance. And then Monument Sign B, which is the one on the secondary entrance at Scepter Drive, we call it. That went from 44.5 square feet down to 29.1, another pretty substantial reduction. You'll note that if you add these two signs up, they total 75. So they did that in order to not be asking for more total signage, even though they were asking for one more freestanding sign. They made them total to 75, which is what one sign could be. So they thought that was, would hopefully be meaningful to the board. The west elevation sign, that's the one, the wall sign that faces King of Prussia Road, that was reduced substantially from 137.5 square feet down to 82.875 square feet. Phil can tell you the height was reduced modestly on that to make it as low as we could, but to account for the slope and the grade in that area. The sign that's on the other side of the building that faces the SEPTA station, that went from 60 square feet down to 42.56 square feet. A wall sign can be 60 square feet, so that's now smaller than is allowed. It is at a higher height in order to have visibility from the SEPTA station. That sign, no one beyond the site can really see except for part of the SEPTA line. The testimony was and will be that it's not visible from I-476. It's really internal to the site and people getting off the SEPTA high-speed line. The awning sign went from 64.4 down to 26.54. The nameplate sign stayed the same. It's only 1 square foot. It's a tiny sign, customary for hotels to have. The instructional signs, didn't seem like the board had an issue with those. They stayed the same. They're allowed to be 30 square feet. These are, one is 7.3 square feet and one is 8 square feet. But Phil can go over that and confirm all that, but that's the summary of the changes. So pretty substantial, we thought, reductions to address the concerns that were heard.
Okay, very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Will? For the record, did we put a copy of your bio from the Brandywine website in the package at A20?
Yes, you did.
And for the record,
Let me just interrupt for a second. The witness was sworn the last time, because I don't think there has any need for Okay, all right, great.
he's doubly sworn.
I also have a question before we begin too. So, is there a copy of the deed or the authorities as well? That's just one thing that I wanted to clarify.
Yes,
before
we do have that.
Okay.
You want, I can go through that. Yeah, I have a copy somewhere.
I didn't see it.
Oh, do you have it? And should have noted for the record, I wasn't sure where the exhibits left off last time, so I started mine at A20, so there'll be a gap. And I went up to A35, so I could label, which one is the current deed?
36?
It'll be A36. So I'm going to label this A36, and I'll hand this up to you in a moment. This is a deed into 165 Radnor Hotel LLC. It's dated October 25th, 2023. Is this the current deed for the Lot C that the hotel is on?
That's correct.
And this 165 Radnor Hotel LLC, is that affiliated with Brandywine Realty Trust?
Yes,
And you're authorized to speak on behalf of this entity and Brandywine?
I am.
Thank you.
Yes. I don't know where the handheld mic is, actually.
It's
Oh,
here.
here it is.
Should I hold up while he's taking a look at the deed? And we can get you another copy of that. I may even have one here in my papers.
We would probably need an extra. We'll make this the one that we put into the
Yeah.
over here. Okay.
If I don't have one, I believe I do, I'll give it to you before I leave. If not, I can email it tomorrow.
So we'll let the record reflect that council's handed up what has been marked at A36, which is a special warranty deed, which describes and documents the ownership and of course, the authority to be presenting this application this evening.
Okay, Well, at Exhibit A20, is that a bio that we took off the Brandywine website?
Yes, it is.
And you spoke last time about your position, so I won't go back into that. But for the record, you're familiar with the property and the general area and the vicinity of the property?
Yes, I am.
And Brandywine or Brandywine affiliated entities, do they own several other properties in the area?
Yes, that's correct. We own a number of properties on King of Prussia Road.
And drawing your attention to Exhibit A21 in our exhibit package, is this an excerpt from the Radnor Township zoning map that has the overall development tract circled in blue?
Yes, it is.
And the Lot C where the hotel is in the general vicinity of the dot there?
Correct.
And this shows the properties in the PLO district, correct?
That is correct.
And if we could turn to the next exhibit in the package, A22, is this an aerial photograph? It notes it was taken on April 2nd, 2025. Does this also show the property and
Yes.
the surrounding area?
Yes, it does.
And where the hotel is under construction is labeled C.
Yeah, that's labeled C here, and obviously that was at an earlier stage of construction.
Jumping ahead, if we could, in the exhibit package to A26, which is our site plan image with some of the signs shown on there. Would you describe the property at 165 King of Prussia Road where the hotel is under construction and the two adjoining properties that are part of this overall development?
Yes, so the hotel is located here, indicated as Lot C. Lot A is the adjacent Arkema building. You can see on the other side of the site is the shared parking facility.
Now, for the record, that's up against the railroad tracks on the top of the page?
That's correct.
Okay, keep going.
On the other side of our site is Lot B, which is the Penn Medicine facility.
And that's on the right side of A26?
That's correct.
And for orientation, King of Prussia Road is on the bottom?
Yeah, King of Prussia Road is on the plan south, as you see here. And as I work my hand here, plan west is heading north on King of Prussia Road. South is plan east. And then coming from the east here is where you will come up from Business 30 and make your way up King of Prussia Road from there, heading north.
At the last hearing, the hotel was described as a boutique hotel with some amenities. Is that still correct?
That is still correct.
And they'll have a restaurant or more than one restaurant?
Correct. There is a rooftop restaurant and amenity, and then the ground floor will also have a restaurant service, which is also open to the public, so not just hotel guests.
And Lot A that has the Arkema building and a parking garage, can you talk about what this facility is for Arkema and what brought them to this location?
Sure. So Arkema is a global chemical company. They were based out of France. Brandywine was fortunate enough to construct a build-to-suit project for them, bring them here into the township. Actually, they've been in the building almost a year to the day since they occupied. As part of bringing them, this hotel was an important part of the draw for them and a critical part to them coming to Radnor.
And am I correct, this is their North American headquarters here in Radnor Township?
That is correct.
And of course, Lot B has the Penn Medicine facility. That would it be fair to say that's a state-of-the-art facility that was located there?
Absolutely, yes.
We have a bunch of exhibits, photos in the exhibit package back at A23, labeled A23A through H. I'd like you to identify each of those photos and briefly describe what they show.
Certainly. So this photo, from a point of view perspective, you're moving
A23A.
A23A, exhibit A23A, orientation. This is coming north up King of Prussia. Oh, sure thing. Okay. So again, this is looking north on King of Prussia Road. What you see in the forefront here is Penn Medicine's monument sign. Behind it, you will see the south elevation of the Arkema office building.
And that sign is at the main entrance to this overall development site?
That's correct. This is the main entrance to the development site. Just out of the photo here, there is a traffic light here that was built as the part of the off-site work of the initial development efforts.
Okay. And you see no signage on the Arkema building there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so here is Exhibit 23B. Again, looking north along King of Prussia Road, you can see the traffic light I had just mentioned here. Again, the Arkema building on the right-hand side as well.
Okay. C, we omitted intentionally. D.
D is continuing north on King of Prussia Road. You can see here as kind of the grade starts to increase significantly. We're moving further past the Arkema building, would be more on our right-hand side here, and you're working your way up the sidewalk up toward the retaining wall that handles the grade in this area.
So you're leaving that main entrance area, walking toward what we called SEPTA Drive, toward the hotel site, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. E, A23E.
Yeah, A23E, this is just a continuation as you're walking further north here. This is just another illustration here where you can see kind of the confines, the restrictions of the grade, the retaining wall here, and then as you're looking up to the hotel, from this vantage point, you can see the construction of the hotel elevator, and this is the rooftop level of the hotel that you see here.
Now that's taken obviously right at the wall, but that shows that wall obscures the view of a substantial part of that facade of the building, correct?
That's correct. There's 2 stories plus basement below from that viewpoint that you can't see from that viewpoint.
Okay, F.
Exhibit F here, just a different orientation. It gives you a better sense again of the grade. Here, this is the other side of the berm. So if you went back to the previous photo, that's essentially that retaining wall is further down on the other side of this berm. What you see here is what is the shared loading drive, or what will be a shared loading drive that brings you to the backside of our office building, of Arkema's office building, where their loading area is, and will also serve the same purpose for the hotel.
So that picture is taken from what we're calling SEPTA Drive, which is the driveway that leads up from King of Prussia Road. And that berm that's what's being held up essentially by the retaining wall along King of Prussia Road.
That's correct.
And that berm will serve to screen the loading facilities for the Arkema building and the hotel to some degree.
Correct.
And you can see in that photo that the base of the hotel is much lower than the top of the berm, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, A23G.
So this is from a viewpoint from the SEPTA high-speed rail parking area. So you're looking down SEPTA Drive here, and then you can see it's currently blocked by the construction trailer, but this would already also give you a visual over to, you can see the top of the office building here. So
on the left.
On the left. So looking through where the construction trailer is where you're kind of set inside the courtyard area, if you will, of the project site.
And in my opening remarks, I mentioned how the building was oriented with its side to the road. That's the same here, oriented with its side to the SEPTA station.
That's correct.
And I mentioned how long the other dimension of the building was. You can see that readily in this photograph, correct?
Correct.
A23H.
Okay, so A23H is a view from inside the site, if you will. It is a photo from the shared courtyard. and looking toward what will be the main entrance of the hotel. Again, kind of screened behind the construction fencing here, but you can see where our awning's located, and eventually this will be where the drop-off lane will be constructed for visitors coming and going to the hotel.
And that's basically only visible from internal to the site.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is only internal.
And that'll essentially be the main entrance and lobby for this hotel, correct?
Yes, that's the main entrance to the hotel.
Could you turn back to that site exhibit at A26?
Sure.
Please. Look at that. In your opinion, does the development tract have unique physical circumstances and conditions that create an unnecessary hardship in complying with some of the Radnor Township sign provisions that are applicable in the planned laboratory office district?
Yes, I think there are unique characteristics to this site.
And could you go over those?
Yeah. So we mentioned, well, to start with just the use type. It is a mixed-use type development. So per your previous comments, we have an office use. We have the Penn Medicine facility. And then, of course, we're in the process of constructing the hotel shown here as Lot C. So we have a number of different use types here. And then, obviously, in turn, a frequency of first-time or one-time visitors will be traveling and coming to this site as opposed to, say, a more typical office facility.
And with regard to the three uses, they each have their own individual sign needs, of course. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in your opinion, is the orientation of the hotel also a unique condition where the side is facing the road and the wider part, the main entrance, is facing internally?
Yeah, it is a unique condition there. It, obviously is perpendicular, if you will, to the road frontage, and really the orientation of the hotel here kind of closes in the full site and that courtyard area.
And in your opinion, is this the sloping condition that you went over in the photographs with the retaining wall and the berm that obscures a good part of that facade, in your opinion, is that a unique physical circumstance or condition of the land that is creating a hardship with related to complying with the sign regulations?
Yes, it is.
And you touched on this a little bit previously, but I wanted to follow up. As compared to a general office building that has workers that come day in and day out, or maybe 2 or 3 days a week since COVID, as compared to an office building like that, do the uses on this site tend to have a larger number of first-time or infrequent visitors for whom signage would be more important than your, regular general office worker?
Yes, that's as I mentioned earlier. Arkema is a global company, so they're based out of France. So they have frequent visitors coming in from Europe and, frankly, all over the world. So as opposed to myself, who comes and goes to the same office every day, there are certainly first-time visitors and folks that are not familiar. That this wayfinding will certainly is an important factor.
And with Penn Medicine, I'm sure there's a lot of local people that go there. It's a state-of-the-art facility, but being a state-of-the-art facility, would that be likely to have more first-time visitors than a typical general office building?
Yes, absolutely.
And, of course, a hotel inherently would have that, correct?
Correct.
Will this hotel also serve an important role? You mentioned how important it was to Arkema, but also generally in being complementary to the two other uses?
It will, yes.
And can you elaborate on that?
I can. As an example, just some of our programming and planning for the hotel itself even contemplates, partnership with each of these properties and uses, a wellness type offering for folks who may be coming for outpatient surgery or something like that, offering a place for them to stay with limited travel. So that's an important piece there. And then I mentioned, obviously, with folks coming from the office and travel.
And then, do you feel that having the restaurant spaces you mentioned will be complementary to the Arkema and the Penn Medicine?
Very much so. There are the office building and Penn, but the office building in particular does not have a kitchen. They just have typical pantry type amenities. So they very much are looking to partner there with the hotel. In addition to just the restaurant, there are also meeting spaces which will be offered.
And since the last hearing, did you work with the project team? And I highlighted the changes when I went over 835, but did you work with the team to substantially reduce the size of many of the signs and reduce the scope of relief being requested?
Yes, we did.
And I mentioned this, but since the revised plans were submitted for this hearing, has the logo for the hotel been further refined?
Yes, that's correct.
And as a result of that, we're presenting the most up-to-date revised images and calculations this evening.
Correct.
And to confirm, is it your understanding that these modifications aren't changing any of the number or the types of signs, correct?
That's correct.
And these modifications are not causing the need for any additional measures of relief, is that correct?
Correct, they are not.
And in some cases, it made them modestly smaller.
Yes.
In your opinion, is the proposed revised signage important to make the hotel a success at this location?
Very much so.
In your opinion, will the signs as revised be inappropriate or out of character with the signage in the general vicinity?
No, no.
In your opinion, will the proposed signs as revised be detrimental to any other properties or the general public health, safety, and welfare?
No.
And you mentioned Brandywine, or affiliates of Brandywine own a lot of the properties in the area, correct?
That's correct.
That's all I have for Will. I would like to also call Phil back when the board is ready.
Any questions by the board for this witness?
I have a question.
Sure.
So just regarding so I understand, with how the site has been laid out and the hotel has been oriented, like why was it designed in such a manner, like having the courtyard? Because I'm just trying to understand were there unique physical aspects of the property in order to develop it like this and therefore necessitate relief? So just, why are the buildings oriented as they are?
Sure. Yeah. So I was not involved in the very early planning stages. We actually partnered with Penn a little further into the development process. Again, a lot of the grading was existing and then modified accordingly. So there were existing buildings and constraints from the previous development that was there. And I'm just kind of thinking through from a civil perspective, some things that we were able to achieve was increased stormwater management. I think some of these orientations did bring benefit there. Just as an example, this courtyard paver area is actually there for stormwater management. It's a fully permeable system there. So it was I would, in my opinion, a unique way to kind of manage those requirements and then kind of to the benefit of the whole site. So, and then obviously with the orientation of SEPTA Drive to be able to develop and build this, I think I would assume that early on in the process, it was important to make sure you got some type of frontage here and manage kind of the same orientation and curve with this King of Prussia Road as well, which is the reason that kind of, as you can see how the 155 building is laid out, it kind of has the turn there. So that was, again, to kind of work with the existing geography.
Okay, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Is it a steel beam construction on this hotel, too? Just curious.
The hotel, it's actually a concrete structure, precast and then prefabricated structural cold form framing.
Okay, no joke. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phil?
Now, for the record, Phil, what is your last name, sir? Has been qualified previously at the last hearing as an expert and has been sworn, as I understand it. Is that correct? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And just spell your last name for me.
It's Dubroff.
And Phil, Philip?
Phil, yeah, with one L.
For the record, we put in the package at 825 a bio for Phil, but as you said, he testified last time, so I won't go into that. Phil, I'd like you to describe the revised sign package and the reductions in size and height as may be applicable. And I'd like to just run through each, we have an exhibit for each sign, and then I think I'll walk you through each one, and then I think you're going to want to also be referring to A35, that chart. And when you refer to each one, please identify the exhibit number for the record. So let's start out with A27. We've already gone over A26, the revised site plan. So let's go to A27. This is the revised monument sign A at the main entrance drive, is that right?
That's correct.
And would you describe this sign?
So we reduced the height of the sign to match the Penn Mutual, or the Penn Medicine sign, and reduced the square footage from 55 square feet to 44 square feet.
And this sign needs some relief. As I mentioned, it's well within the 75 square foot limit for a freestanding sign, correct?
That is correct.
There is a rule that if you have multiple freestanding signs at a site, that you could have one at each points of main ingresses and egress. So this is a second sign at that driveway, is that correct?
Yes.
And in your opinion, as Will indicated, is it important for Arkema and the hotel to also have a sign at this location?
Absolutely.
And as I indicated, this sign not only identifies the hotel, but also Arkema, correct?
Yes.
And this sign also needs relief. There's a requirement that freestanding signs on the same tract be separated by at least 200 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I said we weren't going to refer back to A26, but I forgot. A26, can you show the
we're
Penn
talking
sign there?
So the blue is the, okay. So the blue outline, or this, the outline on the right is the Penn sign, and our proposed sign for the hotel and Arkema site is on the left.
And that's circled in red.
Yes, sir.
And what's the approximate distance between the existing Penn sign and the proposed monument sign A?
98 feet.
And that's shown there on A26?
Yes, right here.
And do you believe it's important for the monument sign to be, flanking the other side of the driveway as the Penn sign does?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go to A28, which is revised monument sign B at what we call SEPTA Drive.
Alrighty. Can we see this okay? All right, so this sign was originally, when we proposed it last month, is 44.5 feet, and we've reduced that to 29.15 square feet.
And as I mentioned, this is well under the 75 square foot limit, correct?
Yes,
And the two signs total 75 square feet, which is the allowable size for one sign, correct?
yes.
And in your opinion, is it important that Arkema and the hotel also have a sign at this driveway?
Yes,
And this sign is well beyond the 200 feet separation as indicated on A26, correct?
yes. It's 580 feet between the two signs.
So it has no issue there.
That's correct.
This sign, although it's individually compliant, this sign needs relief because of that overall signage requirement based on the short side of the hotel. This would push it over the limit, which on A35, you have
Right
a
here.
note. that Mr. Kachansky determined that technically there should be 92.5 total square feet for the hotel.
Yes,
So this sign.
for the site. Right.
For the site, this sign needs relief from that as well, but individually, it's well within the limit, correct?
Yes.
A29, could we go to that?
Yes, sir.
This is what we're calling instructional sign A. We don't believe this sign needs relief. It's well under the size limit, and if you add the sign A and this, you're still within the 92.5 square feet. So, and this sign hasn't changed. Is that
No,
correct?
that is correct.
So we just wanted to give that info to the board, but we don't believe that needs relief. A30.
So that's this sign.
A35.
Wait, A35 is, let me see, hold on.
Instructional sign A.
Yeah, instructional sign, right.
Yeah, well, the A35 indicates, and I saw Kevin's email, that 92.5 square feet is the total allowed. So if we count the, actually, I misspoke. The two monument signs would not need relief. I said the SEPTA Drive one would, but they total 75, so that's 75 of the 92.5. And then if you add two of these monument signs in, you're still under that. The third one knocks you over slightly. One of them needs relief. And we could even add the hotel plaque at 1 foot and still be within the 92.5. But this A30, this shows two signs. We called
Let
it.
me interrupt for a second. Based
Sure.
on the formulation you just stated, which is the sign for which, the specific sign that you say needs relief?
Well, it's whatever one you would pick, but I'll just go in order because we have to total them up. So let's say it's B2, just going in order.
Make a note.
Now, Phil, these instructional signs, they're allowed to be
30 square
30
feet.
square feet. And what are the size of each one?
So A is 7.3. B1 and B2 are 8 square feet each.
So they're substantially lower than the 30 square feet that would be permitted individually, correct?
Yes.
And do they serve an important function for directing people around this site, in your opinion?
Absolutely.
Could we go to A31?
Okay. A31 is the west elevation.
So this is the proposed wall sign that would face King of Prussia Road. Can you describe the changes that have been made to this sign?
Yes. So our original, our submittal last month, the sign totaled 137.5 square feet, and we've reduced it in accordance with the new design to 82.875 square feet.
So a pretty substantial reduction.
Absolutely.
And Will showed the photographs of the berm and the retaining wall. Given those conditions and the distance of the building from King of Prussia Road, which is fairly substantial, do you believe this is the minimum size
Yes.
sign that is needed?
Absolutely.
And with regard to the impact of the retaining wall and the berm, this exhibit A31 has a red dashed line running
It goes
along,
right along this line right here.
along the bottom, I would say about a quarter up the building. Does everybody see that red dashed line?
It's
Can
this-
you explain what that red dashed
that-
line is meant to show?
That red dashed line is the top of the berm.
And so the top of the berm would obscure the view if you were out on King of Prussia Road, because that would be in the way, essentially, correct?
That's correct.
And even though the ordinance doesn't allow the height to be measured that way, was the sign lowered to make it so that the sign is 15 feet from the top of that berm?
That's correct.
And 15 feet is the height that it's allowed to be under the code, but that's supposed to be measured from the grade at the base of the building, correct?
Yes.
And this was done, you were able to reduce the height modestly, is that right?
Yes.
What was it reduced by,
It
about
was-
a foot?
Yes, sir.
And in your opinion, then, does that red line show that that is really the minimum that the height should be to make up for the slope
Yes.
and the berm?
Right. And the viewing distance?
Let's go to A32, please. This is the wall sign that's more internal to the site, visible from the SEPTA station. Can you describe this sign and
So,
the reductions?
right, A32 in the east elevation was originally 60 square feet, and we reduced it to 42.56 square feet.
So that sign was compliant before individually, because a wall sign is allowed to be 60, but it was right on the money, so to speak, but it was reduced to be substantially lower than it could be on an individual basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that is higher than 15 feet above the grade, and we don't have the slope there, so why do you believe relief should be provided to have it at that height?
So the height serves the purpose to increase the visibility from the SEPTA station. And there's vegetation that will grow in, which would obscure it additionally. So it needs to be that height.
And the vegetation is shown on the inset photo on the left?
It's
the
the
trailer?
corner, yeah. There's different areas, yes.
Or there's
Right.
going to be a landscaping plan, is
Yes,
that
sir.
right?
Yes,
That
sir.
the township requires?
Yes.
And is there a certain symmetry to, do you have this sign kind of in symmetry with the sign on the other side of the building?
That's correct.
And do you believe that is a better way to do it?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that's the appropriate location, given the architecture of that building?
Yes.
A33, the revised awning sign. Can you explain what this is and the changes that were made?
Right. So originally, we submitted, the awning sign was 64.4 square feet, and we're proposing a sign that is 26.54 square feet.
And this sign, of course, not really visible off of the site, is that right?
Yes.
And do we believe relief is needed for this sign at this point?
Yes.
What relief is needed?
So it would be the size of the sign. The letters comply, but the outline of the sign.
Oh, if you can count the complete background?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And then that would go into the total as well for the
Square
hotel
footage.
site, right?
Yes, sir.
And A34, the nameplate plaque sign, that stayed the same, is that right?
Yes, no changes.
And how big is that?
That's 1 square foot.
And is it customary, in your experience, for hotels to have something like this?
Absolutely, and it's required by the franchise.
And again, this would only be visible internal to the site, correct?
Yes,
And not even that far away because it's small, right?
that's correct.
I forgot to verify when we were talking about the sign in A32, the one facing the SEPTA line. That will not be visible from I-476, will it?
No,
And will any of the signs be visible from I-476?
no.
And is there anything on Exhibit A35 that we really haven't gone over at this point? The chart?
No, No, all items.
Do you agree with Mr. Golden that as to the unique physical circumstances and conditions of the site creating an unnecessary hardship?
Yes.
And in your opinion, because of these unique physical circumstances or condition, can proper signage for the hotel be provided in strict conformity with the applicable sign requirements? And the authorization of a variance is necessary to enable a reasonable use of the property through this signage?
Absolutely.
In your professional opinion, with the large reductions and changes that were made, is the relief requested the minimum that will afford relief to allow for this reasonable use?
Yes.
And do you agree with Will's testimony that these signs won't have any detrimental impact to properties in the area or the general public health, safety, and welfare?
Yes.
That's all I have for Phil.
Any questions by the members of the board?
That's all we have. I'd like to move the new exhibits into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you.
A35 away.
835.
Yeah, I'd like to commend you for putting that together because there's obviously a lot of different variances that are taking place here, but you've
Phil
reduced them
and
by
Tina
almost.
from his office did that.
Yeah, whoever did that, I certainly appreciate it. I think it's going to make it easier for the board for motion purposes. But your witness just testified about the awning sign. I believe that might be the only thing we may need to add to, but correct me if I'm wrong, to Exhibit A35. If we use Exhibit A35 as the relief you're going to need for each of these signs.
Yeah, I noticed that you had mentioned the letters weren't of the proper height, and that wasn't on 835. I did notice that.
Right, so in other words, so that's
You
going back to
testified
your.
we needed relief.
Well, it was for the square footage, no?
Oh, the overall square footage,
Right,
that's right.
so he needs relief for that.
Yes.
Okay, so,
That's
and that
right.
would
I'm
be
sorry, Phil.
the subsection 122C3. So if you look at your original notice, the notice for today's appeal, it's referenced in there. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure we grant whatever relief you need for these signs, because our township our experts are very good, and nothing gets by them. So I want to make sure
Yeah,
it's
the awning
included.
signs it says in 28123 C, which is awning signs in the PLO district, refers back to 28122 C3.
So that you.
So
you
that
need
would be
relief
the
for
one
size.
we would need relief from.
Okay, so I just penciled that into A35 to make sure that when the motion's made, we're going to include that in that.
Thank you for catching that.
Well, no, I just want to make sure it's done correctly.
Any public comment? Seeing none? Have a motion?
We don't need to, you don't have to, no. What I might recommend, that's why I was referencing Exhibit A35, which has the table. We can reference this exhibit and just include, if you look at the column that says code and paragraph, Mr. Brosman and his client they've almost reduced the number of variances needed by almost half. But there's still these separate subsections. That's what we should reference, this exhibit, the code sections that are referenced in here. They're all typed in here with the addition of section 280-122, subsection C3. That needs to be included in here because they do need relief for that, and the awning sign, that would be for that one sign. So that was 122C3. Other than that, I believe the applicant agrees that this Exhibit A35 includes all the other code sections that relief is going to be granted from.
I will make a motion that the board approve the applicant's request for a variance, for the variances that are listed on Exhibit A35 that has been entered into the record this evening, along with the the additional code section, which is section 28-122.C3 regarding the awning sign.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Let me call the vote.
Aye.
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 So the measure passes. Thank you. No worries. Once I realize I just have to move something. No independent thought. Okay, we have everything we need in here, right? Hang on for a second. I just want to, I just want to add to what's in the official record, what we just handed over.
Yes.
Okay.
He moved them all in, so.
Okay. It's my paperwork. You have that section.
Yes.
Plus section 1.
122, subsection C3.
Okay.
And that'll be in the transcript as well.
Okay. Okay, thanks for your patience while we did some housekeeping here. The next item on the agenda for this evening is Appeal 3244. The applicant, Kathy Wright, property located at 236 Lenore Avenue, zoned R4 residential. The applicant seeks relief from Section 280-105F in parens of the code to allow parking in the front yard setback.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Do I need to be? Yes.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I did.
And state your full name for the record.
Kathleen, with a K? Right.
Okay. Use the, either speak clearly into the microphone or use the hand microphone.
Yes, thank you. So I do have, you all received the packet and the pictures
Yes, we
that I
did.
did. I have an additional picture just because Mr. Stump came to grind the stump. That was my heritage ash tree that was taken down some years ago by Shriners. And so this is how it looks right now. Just a little nicer looking than with the stump.
Okay. We need to have a copy of that for the official.
Sure,
record.
yes.
Do you have one with you?
No, but I can make a copy of that for you.
Okay. And when you're done, we'll take that copy and put it.
Okay,
up there.
absolutely. It's on my, yes, it's yours. It's on my laptop. So let me just, I prepared a statement just so my thoughts don't get jumbled. I'm a retired critical care nurse. I value my profession, and in many of the shifts, I gave it my all, resulting in knee, back, and hip replacement surgeries. In order for me to continue living in my home in Wayne, I need safe and easy access to my car. I am the only property on Lenore Avenue without direct access into my home. With increasing traffic on my very busy one-way street and parking only allowed on the right side, my home is on the left, loading and unloading packages, groceries, suitcases, bins, clothing, and grandchildren can be difficult and at times unsafe. Finding a parking space nearby my home can be a problem. Many of my neighbors have several cars, and once younger children now living at home or visiting decreases the number of available parking spaces. The engineer, John Smirga, is here with the plan that it was included in the packet.
Let me suggest, take as much time as you want for your remarks, but if you're concluded with your remarks, I think we should hear from Mr. Spurka. Okay.
Sorry, John, didn't know where you were.
So,
State your full name and phone, please.
John Smirga, S-M-I-R-G-A.
Okay, Mr. Spurga, either speak into that microphone or use the hand microphone. We have to hear everything you have, every word of your testimony, as does the court reporter.
Okay, gentlemen, my name's John Smirga. I prepared this plan, which shows basically the property, which is a very narrow, 34-foot wide lot.
May I ask you a couple of questions first?
Sure.
You're a registered engineer,
I am a registered professional engineer, yes.
and for how many years have you been a registered professional engineer?
More than I want to say, but over 60 years.
Okay, and you're licensed in Pennsylvania?
Yes, sir.
And you're currently, and I believe Ms. Wright is going to offer you as an expert in the field of engineering?
Yes.
Okay, accepted without objection. Go ahead.
Okay. So as you can see, the lot is a very narrow 34-foot wide lot, which is substandard for the area, which requires a 55-foot lot. But the grades are not excessive, so I have a plan that shows the existing lot the way it is with the house well behind the setback line, and a subsequent plan showing a 10-foot wide, 20-foot deep driveway that will enter from Lenore back into the property. The grades are not very steep. The driveway would end up to be about a 3.5% grade upgrade to the house. There's one thing that we're going to have to watch. There's a sanitary sewer that comes out of the house at this point and comes down to a point around here and then diagonally across to a vent, do a clean out right here and then out into the street. So we're going to have to be careful when we go to excavate. The depth is not going to be that deep, just about maybe a foot deep, just to get the stone and blacktop in. So if there's any questions.
I do have a couple of questions. Now, looking at the drawing, we're gonna mark the drawing, your drawing, as Exhibit A. Okay.
Okay.
And I think you referred to the upper drawing shows the proposed driveway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the bottom of each of the drawings, the one that shows the proposed driveway and the as-built, there appears to be a sidewalk?
There is an existing sidewalk which goes along the whole front of the house, back to the house from the existing public sidewalk that goes across the front. And then about 4 or 5 feet from there, we're going to put a small retaining wall. It's only going to be about 18 inches high. that would serve both to allow us to grade that in and then put a sidewalk there so she can get back up into the existing sidewalk from her car. So she wouldn't have to walk around back to the public sidewalk and then up.
Okay. What is the distance from the proposed paved driveway to the edge of the existing walkway?
It's about 5 feet.
And the overall size of the driveway, the proposed driveway, is 10 feet by 10 feet wide, and what is the length?
By 20 feet from the right-of-way line, 20 feet.
What do you mean, the right-of-way line?
The
the street?
right-of-way of the street, which is this line right here. It's 20 feet back, and it's about another 3 feet to the public walk. So the whole thing would be 23 feet. 3 feet outside the right-of-way, 20 feet inside the right-of-way.
And this,
This would allow her car to be totally off the public right-of-way onto her property.
and also on Exhibit A, there, on one of the pages, or the leaves, there is a retaining wall section.
Yes, sir.
No, is that the retaining wall that you described earlier?
Yes, sir. That's there to protect the existing sidewalk, which is going to be above the driveway by about a foot, foot and a half. So that retaining wall is more landscaping than it is structural.
So in the packet that was supplied as part of the appeal, there is a photograph. It's of 236 Lenore.
Yes, that's my property.
Okay. And does this photograph, and this is a question for either of you because you're both apparently familiar with the site, does this photograph, which is, we'll call this Exhibit B, this photograph, Exhibit
Is this
B.
is this the photograph I have?
Yes, it is. It is. Does that, on the left-hand side of the photograph, can we see the walkway?
Yes,
Yes.
that walkway is right there.
And this is a better picture.
And the new one that you've given there's the driveway right there.
No, that's
I
my
see.
walkway.
Walkway, I mean.
3 steps up from the sidewalk.
Yeah. So you can see there's about a 12-inch rise and then a flat area. So the driveway will go through this 12-inch rise and then go to flat. And then the retaining wall would be just about right there. And it's to protect the sidewalk, which was a newly installed concrete sidewalk with a brick edging. We don't want that to be disturbed.
And this proposed driveway is supposed to be out of McCabum, is that what I'm seeing?
It will be macadam.
And,
Yes.
and what is, can you explain to me that exact material? I'm just not extremely familiar.
Well, the blacktop, which is every road in Radnor Township, is
Got it.
well, most roads are blacktop. There is some concrete roads.
Right.
It's about there will be a wearing surface. There'll be a 2-ply application. There'll be about 1.5 inches of a wearing surface, which is the smoother area. Underneath that, there will be about 3 inches of a binder, which keeps the road plastic. And then underneath that, it will be about 6 inches of stone.
Okay.
That'll all be compressed and stabilized, and then the blacktop will be put on top of that.
Okay, so it's all impervious.
The life of that will be 30 years.
Okay, that's what I was curious. It's all impervious.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Understood. Thank you.
There's no reason why the driveway could not be located where the walkway is that correct? Or up against the walkway, isn't that right?
There is no reason why, except to take away a perfectly good walkway that's there. For people who don't want to use the driveway, this would be the only means of ingress and egress out of the house for other people.
Well, I'm looking at the photograph you've submitted of 234 Lenore, and it appears that there is the driveway, and it's right up against a hedge. You're probably aware of the fact that if we grant a variance from the code, it has to be the minimum amount of variance
Correct.
to alleviate the hardship. And the hardship is, as I perceive it, that the applicant has got to spend most of her time hunting around for a parking place where the driveway, especially one such as the one we see on 234, could solve her problem.
Well, as you
She
can
already has the sidewalk there, 2 feet of sidewalk, which could be incorporated into the driveway, and the driveway could be shifted over so
But
that
as
you
you
don't
can-
have a parking lot right in front of the house.
But I argue the point that, as you can see, this driveway was totally flat. People can walk and use the driveway as a means of ingress and egress by walking, where right now, if people wanted to walk into Mrs. Wright's house with the driveway as I proposed, you have the sidewalk, which is perfectly good, and it's been recently installed, and it's a very expensive concrete sidewalk.
When was it installed?
About 5 years ago. It was upgraded. There's always been a sidewalk there. There's always been, I mean, the structure of the house, I never added anything to that. That's always been that sidewalk from the public sidewalk.
You're still under the impervious limit, even with having both the sidewalk and the driveway, right?
Yes. As you can see, we're allowed, in this zone, we're allowed total cover of 40%. We're at 34.65% right now. And with the driveway, it would go up to about 39%. So you would be under the 40%. And it's only 250 square feet of new cover, which is under your stormwater requirement.
And I'm just looking at the drawing here, so the for Exhibit A, but the depth of the driveway, the proposed driveway, so it's a width of 10 feet.
Correct.
And then is the depth, is that 20 of the actual driveway space itself? Just so I'm clear.
It's 10 feet across this way, and then it's 23 feet from the curb, from the sidewalk.
Okay.
But it's 20 feet from the right-of-way line.
Got it, so your standard parking spot
Yeah.
size, okay. Just making.
The other thing
clear
about
all of
putting
that.
the driveway right up against where the sidewalk is, there's as you can see from the picture, there's a rather substantial hedge between Mrs. Wright and the property next door. You will lose that because the driveway would have to be cut down and you would lose that whole hedge. So it would change the whole personality of that front yard.
And their sidewalk is right on the other side of that hedge. So they have sidewalk ingress to their home.
Yeah, it doesn't show it in this picture, but they do have a sidewalk that abuts this.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting that you could do. You could replicate that in your, with the
No,
the
as you can-
situation that you,
yeah,
excuse
but
me.
to argue your point-
Excuse me. You could replicate what the neighbor has up against the sidewalk that's already there.
But to argue your point, their sidewalk is 50 feet away from their driveway. And they put the driveway there because it's the most convenient spot for them to do that, grading-wise and installation-wise.
You wouldn't have to destroy the walkway. You could just move the driveway over next to the walkway.
But we would lose that hedge. We would then be damaging the other side of that hedge, which is another sidewalk. You would put that in potential hazard. So you would have to put now a rather structural wall to maintain that.
Why would you have to destroy the hedge?
So may I just clarify? So you're suggesting moving the retaining wall, in essence, closer to the sidewalk?
No, moving the not having a
He
retaining wall.
wants to put it on top of the
Seems like it's de
sidewalk.
minimis that you wouldn't even need that, but you could move the driveway. I see the other photographs that you supplied from, nearby neighbors. And it looks like you could, it looks like you could just bring the driveway over closer to where the walkway is.
And again, I argue that the driveway on 234 was put in without any excavation. It was an easy installation, no walls, nothing necessary. If we do what you suggest, taking out that perfectly serviceable driveway, walkway, you would lose that hedge, and you would probably damage or put in jeopardy the sidewalk on the other
It's not what I'm
side.
suggesting. I'm suggesting you move the entire driveway over next to the walkway.
That you'll lose your driveway, you'll lose the sidewalk then.
Mr.
Because
Chairman.
I would have to put a retaining wall right up against the sidewalk. And how would I do that?
Just,
That's why I separated them by 3 feet, so I don't damage that sidewalk, which was put in 5 years ago at great expense.
Kevin?
I think that the photos show this, that Mrs. Wright's property has a significant elevation difference between the public sidewalk and the yard out front versus the other photo. The yard out front is at grade with the sidewalk.
That's
So
what I was trying to explain,
They
yes.
still need a retaining wall to bring the driveway in because the street grade is lower on Ms. Wright's property than it is on the adjoining property. The adjoining property, grass and driveway are almost at grade with the street, but as you can see from the photograph, there are 3 steps up or so on that existing sidewalk, so that they would need to accommodate. They can't put the driveway at the elevation of the walkway, because then it doesn't translate down to the street and the public sidewalk.
Correct.
So in order to preserve that, they need to separate it so that that grading transition can occur.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Could I have that, the exhibit of the other?
This one or this?
This one, yes.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Okay. So the applicant's handed up another exhibit. Well, we can make that exhibit, I think we're up to C. Okay. And this, for the record, is a more complete photograph of the house and the driveway. Okay. And this will be moved into evidence also. Oh, you have to move all your exhibits into evidence. So you're going to do that, right?
The only thing we're going to, well, you have the drawing, which is already, you're going to call it Exhibit A. But you have the drawing. I don't have to submit that. The only thing we're resubmitting right now, today, is that new picture that we just gave you, which will become part of the packet of other pictures that we gave you.
So all the documents have been handed up, are admitted into evidence, including the new photograph, which I marked Exhibit C.
Okay.
Okay.
I do have another question. So, do you need any additional permits or requirements in order to actually, you're going to be cutting a curb? Do you need
Yes,
any
we have to
additional-
get a street opening permit, and we have to get a grading permit, so we still have to apply, once we get the variance. There's no sense going for those applications until we get the variance. Of
course.
But once we get the variance, then we'll have to apply for a street opening permit and a grading permit for the driveway.
Since you're suggesting to have a car moving, pulling in and out, are there any obstructions that will be around here? I'm just thinking in terms of people walking past with strollers.
No, the car will be totally on her
The car will
property.
be, excuse me, the car will be entirely visible for public safety purposes?
Yes. It'll be totally off the right-of-way on her property. And the
But
public,
visibility,
and the
you'll have
public drive,
clear-
and the public
you'll have clear
walkway
sight
will be
lines.
totally clear.
You'll have clear sight lines?
Yes.
And I will lower the hedge as it goes down those 3 steps if need be.
Thank you.
So the sight line will be absolute, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
No questions, other questions from the board? Public comment? Anyone who wants to make public comment, please raise your hands and then come on up. and be sworn in.
Margaret Swisher.
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth,
I do.
okay, Margaret Swisher?
Swisher. Okay. No, I'm just here to support Kathy. I'm a couple houses down, 237 Lenore. And I can tell you that, you know, the neighbor, I have a 100-foot driveway. My house was for sale the same day Kathy's house was. And my husband said, we're not buying a house without a driveway on this street. Because it is very difficult to park. And in fact, if we have a group of people, I have to go around to Jehovah's Witness and ask them to let us park in their driveway. As you approach Kathy's house, it totally jams up with cars. I mean, it is really difficult to park. And we have 2-hour parking signs at the east end of the street, which got put up, I don't know when, a few years ago, because restaurants were parking there. So you couldn't even really, a resident couldn't really even park at the east end of the street legally, though people do. So my neighbor to the left has 3 cars, my neighbor to the right has 4 cars. There's nowhere to park. So I fully support Kathy's request.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Okay, please come up and,
Sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your phone number,
Caroline Hummel,
and spell number,
Hummel. Okay,
and speak into the microphone.
okay. I live at the other end of the street on the opposite side, so I have a full driveway by my house, and which is extremely important, you know, to have and to use. And I just want to support Kathy in her request.
thank you.
And you received the other emails from my neighbors? Okay.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
And just state your phone number.
Leslie Bosniak.
And spell that.
Oh, sure. Bosniak. Okay. Yeah, I'm not good at impromptu. So I'm Leslie Bosniak. I live at 228 Lenore Avenue on the same side of the street as Kathy. And actually some of them are twins, so it's really like 3 buildings down from her. I have a driveway, and I can tell you it would be difficult without one. But at the same time, you know, I would definitely say I'm in full support of this. It improves safety and quality of life for any resident on our one side of the street parking, to have their own driveway. You know, there are parking issues definitely with people working at home more than they used to in the past. There's more cars on the street during the day. In addition to that, we see overflow of some of the businesses and the customers, and also the workers from some of the businesses in our area parking on our street. We've also run into situations where cars have been sideswiped on our street because it is a cut-through street that everybody uses, and it's a narrow one-way street. And as a result of that, you know, you put your own piece of property at risk parking on the street. And parking on the street every day, all day, every day of the year, every year. So, yeah, I'm in full support.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And spell Leslie for me, please.
Sure. Lesley. Okay.
Any other public comment? Do I have a motion, please?
You guys, I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. So I will, so I'll make a motion to approve appeal number 3244 for the property located at 236 Lenoir Avenue regarding the applicant seeking relief from section 280-105F of the code to allow parking in the front yard in accordance with the evidence and testimony presented.
Second.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
And I'm in favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The next item on the agenda is appeal number 3245. The applicant Nathan and Deanna George, property located at 311 Pine Tree Road, zoned R1 residential. Applicant seeks relief from section 280-17C of the code to replace a shed in the side yard setback in the same location as the existing shed.
Good evening. My name is Nathan George. I do. Nathan George. Thank you so much this evening, gentlemen. So I'm essentially looking to replace my shed. It was fallen into a state of disrepair. I purchased my home about 3 years ago, and the shed has essentially been unusable since we purchased the home. When I started the process to replace the shed, I found that the shed was placed too close to the property line where it was currently located. So that's why I've started this process. I'm looking to replace the shed in the same location and in the same size as the shed now. I will be putting proper foundation under it, meaning gravel foundation, so we're not changing the impervious surface or the coverage of the roof of the shed at all. But the shed is too close to the property line. As I outlined in my application, there are unique physical circumstances of my property that actually, even when I investigated trying to move the shed or place the shed somewhere else, I'm not able to put a shed on my property in other locations. And the reasons for that being in Exhibit A, I have the actual drawing of the property, and then I also have Exhibit B where I highlight, sorry, I'll speak into the microphone. I have Exhibit B as well. Oh, sure. I have Exhibit B as well, where I have laid out the actual area based on the code where I could build a shed. Because of the unique shape of my lot and the fact that it's a corner lot, I have a significant amount of my lot that's not allowed to have a shed on it because it's considered the front yard. And then a significant portion of the backyard where it would be permitted is taken by the pool. The other component of the property is there's a significantly large tree, a tulip poplar, that would be close to be considering a heritage tree that's between the shed and the house. So I can't move the shed any closer to the house without disturbing that large tree. And I provided a picture of that in the actual letter that I wrote. The other component of it is the grade of that center part of the backyard. In that portion here next to the pool, if we were to place the shed in the center of the backyard, the grade there along the size of the shed is over a foot of vertical change over the course of the shed. So I'd have to disturb the ground significantly to be able to place it in the middle of the backyard. And I'm happy to take any questions. I've also provided a letter from the impacted neighbor, Chris and Bob Smetana. Chris Smetana and Bob Smetana, I can give that to you there. So they're in support of the replacement of the shed, as it would not impact their property, and actually, since it's not in a state of disrepair anymore, they would prefer that I put a nicer shed there. I'm happy to take any of your questions if you have any further points of clarification.
Is there any size difference between the shed that's being replaced and the existing shed? Or
No, it's the same size. They're both 8 by 12, and this one's 8 by 12.
Thank you.
What's the material out of which the old shed was made, and what's the new shed going to be?
They're both of wood construction. So the previous shed had bricks underneath it that it would be placed on top of the stone, yeah. But there would be a wood floor in it, so it wouldn't be a stone. The floor of the shed would not be stone. It would be, there's plywood on the bottom of the shed.
And the shed was there when you bought the house?
It was, yeah. And I don't know when it was built. I would presume it was built even prior to the previous sale of the house, which was approximately 10 years before I bought it. So I would presume that the shed was at least 15 years old based on the condition of it and its state of disrepair.
So in Exhibit B, do you mind explaining again what the yellow shaded area is that you're?
Yes, the yellow shaded area is the only area of my property where I would be able to place a shed. So the shed is approximately 1/2 within the allowed area, but there is approximately half of the shed sits outside of that area. And again, that's due to the tulip poplar that it's sitting right next to.
And to clarify Exhibit B, the kind of dots with the green around it are the trees, right?
That's right,
On
yes.
the property?
Yeah.
And so why is it not able to be moved kind of like around the pool area then, just in the main yellow shaded area then, just for my edification here?
Which portion are you
So if
referring
you're
to?
saying on let's say the left side of the pool.
Yeah, but like
in
right here
there.
where my finger is. So that's caused by the problem of the grade of the land. It's not very clear in the picture, but from the pool down to the bottom part of that yellow area, it's approximately a 4-foot vertical drop of land. So I'd have to excavate significantly to create a level foundation to place the shed. And it would also impact, that's the usable part of the backyard too, but that's not relevant to this case. But
Major excavation and cost.
it would definitely require it to be excavated to be able to be usable and level.
And currently, do you store anything in the shed, the existing shed?
I haven't been able to use it to date. No.
What do you intend to use the new shed for?
Storage.
Any further testimony?
And that's all I have for you tonight.
You'll move your application and the attached exhibits into evidence?
Yes, I will.
Accepted without objection. Any questions from the board? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I'll call for someone to make a motion.
Yeah, if we'll do a motion to approve Appeal 3245 for applicant Nathan Deanna George, property located at 311 Pine Tree Road and zoned R1 residential. Applicant seeks relief from Section 280-17C of the code to replace a shed in the side yard setback and in the same location as the existing shed, consistent with all testimony and exhibits.
Seconded.
Any discussion, any board discussion?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
I think it's almost de minimis. I'm in favor. May I have the?
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm also in favor.
It carries.
Thank you,
very
gentlemen.
much.
Very nice write-up, by the way.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
I played lawyer.
It's a beautiful house.
The next item on the agenda is Appeal 3246. Appeal 3246, the applicant Gerald P. Francesco, trustee of the Agreement of Trust of Jerry M. Francesco, property located at 200 Wyndham Lane and zoned R1 residential. Applicant seeks relief from Section 280-15E of the code to construct a roof over a portion of an existing patio which encroaches into the rear yard setback of 40 feet.
Good evening. No, I'm representing the applicant. My name is William Dion. I'm with the law firm of Silverang, Rosenzweig, and Holtzman out of King of Prussia.
One quick question. It says that the required rear yard setback of 40 feet. That's what the existing setback there now is 40 feet?
It's correct, that's correct. And I can walk you through it. I don't know if we want to do exhibits, the pictures themselves that were part of the application, if they all, can be marked as exhibits, or should I mark them separately?
No, they can, let's call your application Exhibit A,
Okay, so,
and then let's see what else with you have a plan.
Yes.
You make that Exhibit B.
do you want to make the group of pictures that were submitted Exhibit C?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Well, let's make the photographs, I think there's a photograph in here of what the wall would, or the roof structure would look like?
That's correct. Shows existing conditions and then proposed rendering showing what the
Well, let's
roof.
make the existing conditions collectively, what are we up to here? C?
And then the
So
elevation.
that would be, and then the proposed changes be Exhibit D. Looks like there's two photographs covering, there's two. And you have a deed in here? Okay, that can be part of the original packet. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, William Dion here on behalf of Mr. Francesco, who is the trustee of the property and is the applicant who currently lives there today. Your ordinance does require the 40-foot setback for the primary structure. Accessory structures are permitted to be 10 feet from the property line. There is an existing patio along the rear of the property that is set back 25 feet, so it does not go right up to the 10-foot permission for an accessory structure. But the incorporation or the addition of a roof over any portion of the patio, if that roof is attached to the house, then triggers it as a part of the primary structure, therefore triggering the need for the 40-foot setback. So the applicant is seeking to put a approximately 460 square foot roof over a portion of the patio. It will not be enclosed, so it is not a four-season room. It is open. It just would provide some shade and some cover for the continued use of the existing patio. I have the applicant with me this evening who can walk you through the pictures. Mr. Francesco being sworn in, and I also have a Mr. Martin, who is the contractor who would install the roof. And as far as the legal premise, and if you saw it in the application, my position is it is a de minimis request. I understand that the setback is 40 feet and we're asking for 25, but when you look at the square footage of the roof itself, that's going to encroach into the 40-foot setback. It's approximately 350 square feet. And the rear of this property, when you look at it's 390 feet, linear feet. That setback of 40 feet is almost 16,000 square feet. So when you look at the amount of the encroachment that will be covering square footage-wise, it's about 2.3%. So it's a very minor overall encroachment. But if you look at it dimensionally, I could understand how someone would say, well, 40 feet, 25 feet, that's almost half. But when you look at the overall property and the actual square footage, it is, like I said, less than 3%. And I think the testimony will show that it is heavily wooded today. The topography lends to it, and it will really be something that, while it will benefit the applicant in the enjoyment of his home, it will almost likely be invisible to the surrounding neighbors. We did send out the notices. The applicant attempted to contact the neighbor just behind them. Unfortunately, they were not home, but we have heard no negative feedback on it, and I think it's partly because of the seclusion of the neighborhood. And if you're familiar with Wyndham Lane, it's sandwiched between King of Prussia Road and Gulf Creek Road, right off of Biddle Roof Road. Not easy to say. So with that, I can answer any questions or call Mr. Francesco to just briefly walk through the pictures.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation. Why don't you call Mr. Francesco?
Sure, Mr. Francesco, be sworn in.
I do. Gerald Francesco.
You can sit down if it's more comfortable.
I can, either one, I can.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah. I'll give you that.
Mike. Good evening.
So, Mr. Francesco, you are the trustee for the current property owner at 200 Wyndham Lane, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and you physically live there today?
That is correct.
And how long have you lived there?
About 5 years or so.
And your intention, if this release is granted, is to continue to live there as your primary residence?
Correct.
Okay. What I want to do, just very briefly, is what we have marked as Exhibit C is a sequence of pictures that I believe you took yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
And about when did you take these pictures?
October 20th.
Okay, so if you could very briefly walk through the first picture, you're showing up on the plan there, if you could explain that to the board where that's taken.
Sure. Good evening. So this is obviously a side shot from standing essentially on my driveway, my back driveway where my garage is. That's a shot of the existing patio, looking towards, I guess, towards Biddulph.
Could you use, just to make it easier, Exhibit B, you can point to about where you believe you took that picture.
All right. So I'm standing right here, essentially right there. Driveway is here. I'm standing on the edge of the driveway. Probably standing right here. That's the grill. That's the patio, back of the house. Driveway's on the right. Other side of the grill, other side of the patio, about the same distance away. There's the septic tanks right there. There's green items in the ground. That's on the Biddulph side of the house, looking over the wall, standing right about here. Oops, let me see it. Oop, sorry, right about there. Taking that picture from there, Biddulph's over here. So that's a shot standing on the patio about where the roof structure will be, looking towards the back of the house, towards the back of the property, towards my neighbors on that side of the house, standing essentially right there in the middle of the proposed cover.
And is that the neighbor's property that you attempted to at least contact
Yeah,
about the
that's
application?
right.
Yes,
I
okay.
usually see her when I walking the dogs in the morning, but I haven't seen her for a while. That's also standing in the same spot, looking towards Biddulph. So standing here, looking that way towards Biddulph. This is the driveway here. Again, standing in the same spot on the patio, looking towards my garage is here on the left, and that's the part of the driveway. That's the back, so move back as far as I could before I hit the trees, looking towards the back of the house. The cover, that's the living room door there, that's a living room door there. The cover encompasses, it goes in between those two doors, does not spread out beyond that, standing essentially right here, right near where the property line is. Kind of over on the Biddulph side, right about here.
And let's not go to Exhibit D just yet. So, Mr. Francesco, when you are on your back patio today with the vegetation and the topography change, can you see your neighbor through the vegetation that's there today?
Not really, very little. Some of her deck is about all I can see.
Okay, all right. If we can, I would have Mr. Francesco just walk through Exhibit C of the proposed elevations. Is that okay? Oh, I'm sorry, D. Yes, D. Is there any questions on those pictures?
Any questions from the board on the photographs that we reviewed so far, the existing conditions?
Okay, so moving to Exhibit D, if you can explain to the board what they're seeing there in those elevations of the proposed roof.
So as I mentioned, all this is existing. Grill here, that's an add right next to the grill. The living room door here, and obviously the roof would go over that section of the patio. Driveway is over here on the right. The wall and Biddulph is over there, that side to the left. So you'd be obviously here would be kind of like that. That's probably the closest picture to it. That's the cover. bid off on this side, driveway's over on this side right here, and the neighbors are back this way.
I think there's one more picture before that that you might have skipped
Did I
over.
skip one?
Yeah, you skipped one. Just a side view of the roof.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. So that was the dead-on view. This is the side view, so essentially that first picture from C, where I'm standing on the edge of the driveway almost, looking sideways, looking towards Biddle. Is what that picture is.
And a couple of quick questions for you. So your intention with this roof is not to enclose it to create what I would call a four-season room?
No.
It will remain open?
No, part of the reason for this is because my wife likes to sit outside and watch the storms and things of that nature, as do I, so we kind of sit there and watch the rain.
And then setting this as freestanding, your reason for wanting to physically attach it to the house?
So that when we walk out of the living room doors, we're not walking into weather before we get to the covered portion.
Understood. I have nothing further for Mr. Francesco. Is there any questions from the board?
You don't have a drawing showing the actual plan of, I see your plan of the house, and it's like a pink square here showing where it's going to be, but the actual, you don't have any construction drawings? I mean, what material is this going to be made out of? And
Well, I can swear in our next witness if you'd like those questions. I think it might be more appropriate. It's the contractor from Keystone who would build it.
okay, are there any plans?
We would submit them with, with the ultimate application, but no, we have not.
No plans associated with this?
We haven't done construction plans yet. We've just done the elevations.
Okay. And what kind of material, well,
So if I can call Mr. Martin up?
Sure.
Oh, there he is. He'll be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
And state your full name and spell.
Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N.
Mr. Martin, if you could just tell the board who you're employed by and in what capacity?
Yeah, let's see, is this on?
I think it is on.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm employed by Keystone Custom Decks, and I'm part of the permitting side of things. So after a project is sold, then I take care of getting permits and stuff.
Okay. And you've heard the chairman's question of material. What was the planned material for this roof itself?
Yeah, the roof is going to be made with wood framing, and then they'll have architectural shingles on top. And then decorative, nice wood ceilings and all that stuff. And then there'll be stone for around the columns. And yeah.
There'll be what around columns?
Stone, veneer. At the bottom of the columns, you can see there's like it's to match the house.
It's most visible from the first picture in Exhibit D, where the columns come into the stone bases there. That's what would be constructed to match the existing, and the columns would be, tied into that.
Yeah, we'll use the same kind of stone to match everything in the grout color to get it all to look like it as close as possible. We even added some brick because there's brick on the house to kind of complement that as well. And then the footers will be helical pals drilled in. Helical pals?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Helical pals. Well,
You have to spell that word.
well, H-E helic, L-I, go pals, helical pals.
And
So
what
is
are
that
they?
why don't you explain what that is? It's the
So
foundation.
it's essentially a huge screw that you just screw into the ground, and then the head that screws it in measures the pressure, the PSI, and then once it hits a certain PSI, we know that it can hold a certain amount of weight, and these are engineered. They're used quite a bit in construction these days.
And then ultimately, those design plans would be submitted to the Township Building Office for the review and ultimately the issuance of a building permit, correct?
Yes, absolutely, yep.
So no construction would start until the township issued that appropriate building permit.
That's correct.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question, we have to, part of our review here is just regarding safety. I see that there's an oven, grill. Any safety considerations regarding putting a covered portico here over? Like, I'm just for
Yeah.
our sake here.
Yeah, that sits just outside the roof, so it's not directly underneath the roof. And so if we would be directly underneath the wood, we'd have to put a vent of some sort, but we just stepped it outside, and then it doesn't need that.
Okay. And then I also see, it looks like in your renderings here, there would be heating panels as well, heating lamps.
Oh, yes, yes. Bromic electric heat, infrared heat, yep. There'll be 3 of them, I believe.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I've got one. So you, Counsel, you mentioned earlier that if the roof wasn't attached to the building, it would only need to be 20 feet away from the side back, right?
Actually, I think it would be 10.
Oh, okay.
Because it would, yeah, the accessory structures are 10 feet in the R1 district. So the patio itself could go up to 10 feet, but how it was built, it's 25 feet off. So we are not, the patio is not up there, but unfortunately, once we attach the roof, it becomes part of the primary structure, and then in turn kicks in the 40-foot setback.
Understood.
Any further testimony?
No, I would just ask that the exhibits be moved into evidence.
Okay, without objection. Any public comment? Seeing none. Any board discussion? I'm sorry, I'll call for a motion, please, sir.
I'll motion that the applicant, Gerald P. Francisco, trustee of the Agreement of Trust of Jerry M. Francisco, property located at 200 Wyndham Lane and Zoned 1R Residential, be granted a variance from Section 280-15E of the code to construct a roof over a portion of an existing patio which encroaches into the required rear yard setback of 40 feet in accordance with the testimony and evidence presented.
I'll second.
Any board discussion?
So I guess the thing that I'm struggling with is the idea that this could just be a pergola without continuing the violation. And I know we're talking about the idea that there's a little gap of weather and rain to enjoy storms, but that's the one thing I'm trying to just process and digest. Is this really de minimis if you could just throw a pergola up there and it kind of resolve the issue without extending the setback? Oh, sorry.
I almost kind of took that the opposite way. It seems weird that we would push this kind of further away from the house and further into the setback, which they can do as a matter of right. To me, it's almost like a smaller encroachment into the setback to have it attached to the house instead of standing alone.
The way I see this is that it is almost de minimis in the sense that owing to a quirk in the code, when something like this is done without any extension of anything, it just suddenly creates a violation. So that's why I think that under the circumstances, especially, I mean, there's no problem with neighbors. It seems a reasonable thing to do, and I'm in favor of it. So, any comment? So I'll call the vote.
I'm in favor.
You convinced me, John. I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm also in favor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Have a good holiday season.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, excellent. Okay, great, thanks. The final item on the agenda for this evening is Appeal number 3247, the applicant David Mackey, proprietor, the Philadelphia Print Shop Wayne LLC, property located at 122 West Lancaster Avenue and zoned Wayne Business OD. Applicant seeks a variance from Section 280-122C2 of the code to allow a wall sign with a maximum dimension of 2 feet, 14.372 feet. A determination that the wall sign is permitted without a variance through an appeal of a zoning determination and/or the continuation of a non-conforming wall sign and any other relief deemed necessary and in support thereof. Applicant?
Another pesky 122 subsection C,
Yeah.
Evening of signs.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm George Brosman, representing the applicant. With me is David Mackey, a proprietor of the Philadelphia Print Shop and a principal of the applicant. I have some exhibits I'd like to hand out, if that's okay. Just by way of introduction, we spelled this out in pretty detailed fashion in the application that is at Exhibit A1. David is going to testify in a moment, but he'll tell you that he purchased the Philadelphia Print Shop and moved it from Chestnut Hill over to Wayne a few years ago. And he was at a temporary location at first, and then he moved to another location a block or so away, and now he's moved to the current location. He's had the same wall sign at all 3 locations and they were all in the Wayne Business Overlay District. He went to get the new sign approved by the Design Review Board, who recommended approval, but an issue came up whether there was a zoning issue. So the Design Review Board approved the sign subject to a zoning review. A zoning review was done, and it was determined that the township was now interpreting this code provision in a more limiting fashion than we believe it had been interpreted previously. They focused on the language of the for a wall sign that indicates that there should be 2 square feet of area for the first 15 feet of frontage of a building, and then 1 square foot of area for each foot after the first 15. In my view, they ignored the preamble to that language, which talks about all the signs that can be permitted, and it basically says that you can have 2 feet of sign for every foot of the first 15 feet, not 2 total, 2 for every foot for the first 15. And there was apparently a change in the interpretation, which we understand, so we have applied for a variance from the new interpretation. In the alternative, we did appeal the zoning determination. We thought that the reading, although I see why it's being read that way in a very literal fashion, I found a case that said a zoning ordinance shouldn't be interpreted in unreasonable fashion, so we filed an appeal. And then our third thing that was mentioned in the notice, there was a sign on this property that was larger, a very similar wall sign. If the township is now interpreting the ordinance to basically only allow, based on the 18 feet of width of this property, you could have a 5 square foot sign. So if the township interprets it that way, the antiquities, et cetera, sign that was on the building would have been non-conforming. Mr. Mackey will testify that that sign was taken down to do deferred building maintenance, and it was never intended to abandon having a sign that large. And Mr. Mackey will tell you that the sign that he proposes is actually slightly smaller than that. So we felt that, the sign could be approved under any of those theories. Mr. Mackey went to the Township Board of Commissioners, and he got them to actually support his request. And in our exhibit package at Exhibit A7 is a letter from the Township Solicitor's Office where they support the application, and they note that they're in support of it for various reasons. And then he also got an email of support from Eda Enterprises, which is at A7. And I have another letter to hand to you from the Wayne Business Association that I've marked separately at A8 in support of this, but I'll have David go over that. With that introduction, I'd like to have David sworn in and get some testimony from him, please.
I do.
And state your full name and spell
David
it.
Mackey, Mackey. Shall I stand?
You can sit, whatever you're comfortable. David, in the exhibit package, we have, and you may want to refer to this.
Okay.
At Exhibit A1, there was a copy of the zoning hearing board application we filed. At Exhibit A1A, is that a redacted copy of the lease for the space in question?
Yes, it is.
And did you get a letter from the record owner of the property that's at A1B confirming that you, as the lessee of the property, were authorized to proceed with this application?
Yes, I did.
And if you could turn to A1D, like dog, and maybe we can put that up on the screen here. Let's see, go to D, please,
Oh, D in this, right here?
the next one.
Sorry. Yes.
And can you orient it?
Yes, this,
So did you have an architect prepare this A1D exhibit?
yes,
And on the left side, is that a site plan that the architect prepared?
yes.
And can you identify the property and describe it briefly?
Yes, it's the middle portion of, or the middle of 5 identical storefronts, brick storefronts that face Lancaster Avenue. And the subject property is identified in that diagram on the left in gray, not shaded, but with language that I can't quite read at this scale, even with the glasses, but it indicates the dimensions of my space, if you will, the lease space.
And it's a very long and narrow property, is that correct?
Yes.
And is it 18 feet wide?
Yes, in fact, it is.
And the building is, they're attached to other buildings, so that's the building frontage, 18 feet, correct?
Correct.
And that exhibit shows the building set back at a fairly far distance from Lancaster Avenue, is that correct?
Yes,
Is that about 60 feet?
I believe so.
And that's at the closest travel lane. If there were, if you measured from other travel lanes further to the north, assuming Lancaster is running east and west, it would even be further back, is that correct? At Exhibit A1E, as in Edward, which is next,
In this packet, yes.
are there some photographs of the adjoining properties?
Yes.
And you could identify those?
Yeah, these are the 2 storefronts immediately adjacent and to the west of subject.
You could use that microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Prior Interiors is immediately adjacent to the 122 subject property, and the Creative Mortgage is on the west end at 126.
And then what's the next photo in A1D?
Those are the 2 immediately adjacent properties, storefronts to the east.
And the one furthest to the left, is that the old Landis space that's now a restaurant?
Yes, it's at the Table Restaurant. It's been there about 2 years now.
And they have a freestanding sign for that use,
They have a
correct?
monument, 2-sided monument sign that's perpendicular and out near Lancaster Avenue.
And you heard me mention in the opening comments, before you took over this space, was there a sign for the prior occupant of the space?
Yes.
And what was that prior occupant?
Antiquities, et cetera.
What was that, an
It
antique
was a
shop?
British antique store for 22 years.
And do we have a photograph of that? Is it next? Or
It's, I'm not sure of the order in which it appears here, but yes, it's
A1F?
F. So this is pictures that I took when I was present.
Could you turn it so
Sorry,
it's not?
this way. Apologize. Yes, this is a picture of the building taken on August 3rd, a Sunday morning, when I met the owner's contractor who was going to, and did that day, power wash the building for the first time probably ever. But they
And-
needed to remove the sign, which is on the ground in the adjacent pictures, where I measured the height and the width.
And when you took that sign down, you didn't intend to abandon having a sign of a similar size to identify your shop, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you also upgrade the shed roof there as well?
I didn't, but I was able to, let's say, convince the owner of the property as part of my lease negotiations and an addendum that's attached to the lease, which I think we looked at before, to replace the roof or the shingles, before we intended to open, and which he did. Of course, it was appropriate to clean the building first, and then ultimately the roof was replaced at his cost.
And in your view, did that improve the appearance of this building?
Dramatically.
If we could jump to Exhibit A3, just for the record, is that an excerpt from the zoning map that shows the property being within the Wayne Business Overlay District?
Yes.
Is that tab 3 there?
Yes. Yes, that is the zoning map applicable to the property.
And that also highlights how long and narrow the property is, correct?
Correct.
The property's in the blue there?
Yes.
At Exhibit A4, if you could turn to that, did you prepare this map?
I did.
And explain what this is showing?
Yeah, as George mentioned, I bought I'm sorry, I don't want to knock this over again. Maybe, can we just?
Just fold it under.
All right. Here.
Rip it off.
Yes, this is a graphic depiction of the 3 locations of my business in the Wayne Business Overlay District for the last 5 years. As George mentioned, we first had temporary space at 209 West Lancaster Avenue, the old State Store, or the back half of the State Store. It was temporary in that they had plans to renovate the building, which they later did, so we only had a 9-month lease there.
That's number 1 there on the left?
That's correct. We opened there October 15th, 2020, just a little over 5 years ago. Because that lease was coming up within 9 months, I needed to find a new location. I was already committed to having the business in Wayne, and we moved to number 2 on the far right-hand side at 106 East Lancaster Avenue, the lower level of a space that Kaz Holloway owned at the time.
And
we opened there, about almost 6 or 7 months later, because we had a little overlap, and we opened there May 15th, 2021.
And that property was fairly narrow as well, correct?
It was wider than the current property, but it was also downstairs. It was a lower level space with limited exposure on Lancaster Avenue, but with a secondary entrance on School Lane.
But the property is just a little over 20 feet, I think we stated in the application. So if the new interpretation was made where you only get 2 square feet for the first 15 feet of frontage, and then 1 square foot for every foot thereafter, that sign would have required a variance at that location, correct?
I believe so, but of course it did not.
But if the current interpretation had applied, that would have needed this same type of relief, correct?
Yes.
And then what brought you to location number 3?
Yes. Well, when I moved to 106 East Lancaster Avenue, I signed a 5-year lease. But it was a difficult space. It was during COVID. It was a downstairs space, as I mentioned. It was fairly expensive, but I was able to renegotiate the lease midway with the owner to lower the rent and to, how should I say, add a termination provision in the lease so that if I needed to for financial reasons or relocation purposes, I had the opportunity to terminate the lease a year early. So earlier this year, in the 4th year of the lease, I exercised that right to terminate the lease. I exercised it on March 15th to be effective August 31st, giving actually more than my required notice. And at the time, because things had been difficult in the downstairs space during COVID, we actually announced that we were going to close the business permanently and move to after 42 years, and move to an online model. I wasn't exactly sure how to do that, but I knew we needed to get out of that space. I stopped in 5 or 7 days later to the antiquity store, which I knew had been there a long time. I knew the owner. She used to refer people to our business. She used to bring things over for verification of the authenticity. And I said, I just wanted to let you know we're going to leave this summer, or we're going to close. And she said, me too. So I kind of had my eye on that space as a very desirable storefront on Lancaster Avenue with good exposure and storefront parking, which we did not have at 106 East Lancaster Avenue. And she put me in touch with the owner, Mr. Panaccio, who's been in his family, according to public records, since 1910.
And that's a good space for the print shop?
Yes, we've been open since October 1st, and frankly, it's going well. Or as expected in a retail location with exposure.
And some of these are a repeat of what we had, but did you have a photo board you wanted to show at A5?
Yes.
And
this is going to work, but we'll see. So there's 6 images on this board.
Use that mic.
6 images on this board. The subject property being Exhibit A5B, top middle. The adjoining properties to the east are A5A to the top left. The adjoining properties to the west, Exhibit A5C. The bottom left being another picture of the properties adjoining to the east. And the other picture on the far right is the properties directly across the street. And then the image in the lower center is the exhibit that we submitted to relocate my existing sign to the new location.
And that's A5E?
Yeah, but what I wanted to also mention, just for the moment, is A5A, the top middle picture.
A5B?
A5B, thank you, shows very clearly the how should I say, the cleaned building and the new roof.
Okay.
Which looks frankly better than the others.
At A5E, can you describe the size of the sign?
Yes, the existing sign as it exists, is the burgundy portion with the white lettering and the white outline around it. The building width is shown to be 18 feet, which is correct. The proposed height from the grade to the top of sign is 13.8. And because my sign as it exists, the burgundy portion with the white outline, is smaller, narrower, in other words, not as tall or wide as the former antiquity sign, my sign company, the Fast Signs, suggested a black panel behind it to fill, the difference, if you will, between the height and width of the former antiquity sign.
And What are the dimensions if you have the black background?
But that's the last line on that page, showing the black backboard behind the sign. The sign would be 24 inches by 172, which is, again, smaller than the antiquity sign, even with the black panel, and under 30 square feet.
And it's the version with the black panel that you're seeking approval for, correct?
That's correct.
And the design review board approved that subject to zoning?
Correct.
And you say that's smaller than the antiquity sign, even with the black background added?
That's correct.
At A6, I mentioned that you had gone to the Board of Commissioners meeting and told them your plight, and as a result of that, did you receive a copy of the letter that we included at A6?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
A6 here in your packet?
Yes.
Yes.
And there, the solicitor for the township is expressing support to have this sign be placed on the building. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you also get an email, a copy of an email from EDA Enterprises in support?
Yes.
And that's at A7?
Yes.
And does EDA Enterprises own a good number of properties in Wayne?
As I understand it, yes.
And do they own any of the properties in the row where the space you rent is located?
Yes, they own the former Landis location you mentioned, which is now the At the Table restaurant, and they own the entire, or the several stores directly across from my store on Lancaster Avenue. The picture was in the bottom right of the photo board.
And did you receive another letter that wasn't in the packet that I'm going to hand out that we've marked A8 from the Wayne Business Association?
I received a copy of the letter that the Wayne Business Association sent to the Zoning Hearing Board Council. From Kenny Kearns, who's the president of the Wayne Business Association.
Under the interpretation that we're seeking relief from with a square frontage of 18 feet, is it correct that only a 5 square foot sign would be allowed without the variance relief as is being interpreted currently?
As I understand it, yes.
And in your opinion, would a size that small be sufficient for your business?
Not at all.
And is that in part due to the distance that the store is from Lancaster Avenue?
Yes.
And in your opinion, would a sign of that small look out of place on the building?
Yes. It really wouldn't be visible from the street.
In your opinion, is the sign that you're going to, the sign that you would place there, is there any detrimental impact regarding that?
None.
That's all I have for David at this time.
I guess just have one. Are you going to be centering the sign between where 122's the awning ends to the right? Just generally, where in that area will the sign be located?
It would be centered above the roof. I'm sorry. Above the roof line, not without, let's say, direct regard for the awning.
Okay, so just below those window sills.
Correct.
Okay.
In
cool.
fact, I have another board.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
We presented or made late today.
We don't have a number on this, so I guess we could call it A9.
Sure. Do you have a copy for the file?
We'll have to get one. Do you have a copy?
No, I do
Is
not.
it okay to provide one to you tomorrow?
Or we can leave this one.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Happy to do that. just
And we
brief.
can provide another copy
Yeah,
as well.
so to your point, it would be centered. Actually, it looks like it's lined up with the awning, but it's not, that's not the determining factor. It's the exact center of the 18-foot building, you know, so that you can see it's equidistant, so to speak, on either side.
Awesome, thank you.
And that's, for the record, that's the image on the bottom right corner of A9, correct?
Correct.
And what are the other images
So the
showing?
The top left is the same sign erected before our opening 5 years ago at 209 West Lancaster Avenue on the east facade. That was, let's say, the morning of the ribbon cutting with the Wayne Business Association. The photo at the top right, and you know, some of the this is from our website. It was posted in, I think, the Delco Daily News or something like that, showing our ribbon cutting with the Wayne Business Association on that same day. The bottom left-hand picture is of the same sign on the school lane frontage, if you will, behind the lower level space at 106 East Lancaster Avenue. Again, same sign, you know, burgundy white lettering with the white outline.
That's all I have. I would ask that our exhibits be moved into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you.
Mr. Brosman, just so you know, the photograph with the proposed sign above the existing store was part of your
That's
Exhibit
right.
1.
That's right.
As Exhibit G. It was marked as Exhibit
Oh,
G
thank
as
you.
part of your original application, so
I
it's
mi-
in there.
I missed that. Thank you.
I knew I saw it, so I was flipping through it. I do have a question for your client, if you don't mind. Mr. Mackey, do you know how long Antiquities was at that space?
22 years.
22 years, so that sign, do you know if that sign was above her storefront for 22 years?
I believe it was. In fact, when we took it down, I don't know if you can tell from when it was taken down that day, it literally almost fell off the building because the screws were eroded, if you will, the openings, and it actually split down the middle before they could take it down.
It was Henry and Loretta at Antiquities, right? From what I recall.
No, her name was Marietta.
Marietta.
Yeah, I have a tough time remembering that correctly often, but she was a very nice lady.
And Mr. Brosman, there's no issue regarding the height of the sign. It's within compliance. I know we're discussing, the square footage related matters, but it's below the 15-foot requirement.
Correct, 13.8.
13.8. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
For clarifying that.
Yeah, the only issue that was raised in the zoning review was the size. So it complies in all other respects.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment?
If you raise your right hand, you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
And state your full name.
Robert, my last name, I'll spell it for you, D'*A*MICANTONIO, DeMicantonio. Good evening. I'm Robert DeMicantonio. I'm chairman of the Design Review Board, and Mr. Mackey was to our meeting in October, and we did approve 3-0 the sign that you see right here. It meets the height requirement. At that time, we did approve it, but contingent on zoning relief. So hopefully you fellas tonight will see that he's got a beautiful sign, and it does meet the basic size that you'll see in downtown Wayne. So our board, at our last meeting, just to let you know, at our November meeting last Wednesday night, we revised the language to kind of clarify that issue in wall signs in the code book. Right now, we turned it over to Steve Norsini. Hopefully, it's gone through the channels, and hopefully, the issue will be resolved soon. So I've been on the Design Review Board since 1994. We've always allowed 2 feet for each linear foot of wall signs. So somebody with a 15-foot linear frontage would get 30 square feet of signage. The new set of eyes that looked at the code says, no, you only get 2 square feet in total, for the 15 linear feet of frontage. So it's a little issue there, but we're going to get it resolved, and hopefully, we'll be good to roll here.
Robert,
First of the year.
do you know how long that antiquity store? I know you're very familiar with the stores at that block, so.
Yeah, yeah.
How long was antiquity?
I think David's right. It's a good 20 years.
How long were you across the street?
My grandfather bought that property in 1949, so we were there a long time.
And were there businesses across the street with signs above the first floor, as long as you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. So, yeah. So, yeah, like I say, he's got a great sign, and he's had it at 2 other locations. He has put the little bit of trim around the border, but it does meet the square footage under the prior code that we were looking at. It does meet the height regulation of below 15 feet from grade. So I think he's got a great sign, so, okay.
Thanks a lot.
I don't see anybody out there for any further public comment. I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just taking them in reverse order, it depends on what the board obviously feels the evidence is supported. But granting, if you feel as if this was a non-conforming use, was in existence for some time, and that he's simply continuing a non-conforming use, that would be the least. In fact, there'd be no change to the code. That wouldn't be a variance. You'd just be deeming it a non-conforming use, and in fact, he's reducing the non-conformity. But if you don't feel the evidence supports that, then it would require a variance and/or a reversal of the interpretation of the zoning officer. I would think that the next least intrusive decision would be to grant a variance as opposed to overturning your zoning officer. But that's within your purview. Those are your 3 options.
Well, under the heading of board discussion, I do think that the cleanest and least invasive, I guess you could say, would be to just say it's a continuation of a non-conforming use, because I've driven by there I don't know how many times. I mean, the sandwich shop sign was always up there, and all these other ones, and this is actually an improvement over the antiquities sign. And I see that the shops next door also have signs similarly located, so.
Old signs, I might add.
And
They're antiques.
I would make a motion, if we're all ready, I would make a motion that we approve we grant the relief requested insofar as it is deemed to be a continuation of a non-conforming wall sign.
A non-conforming,
I'll second.
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye, definitely in favor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we want to leave this or don't need to now?
No, you don't need it.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
Thank you.
We'd have to fold that poster up in the file.
David's old school. He wanted to go with the board.
He owns a print shop.
Yeah.
First of all, I wanted to just say thank you, and if you haven't, maybe